we go.
Yeah, okay. All right. Good morning, everybody. Bill Privette here in coastal North Carolina. We're going to inspect hive number 15 here in a minute. But before we do that, I'll just describe what we've got here. This is my backyard bee yard. And we have, right now, we have 19 colonies, which is kind of neat. That's probably our peak. And then by the end of the summer, we'll consolidate and we might move some. I like to keep the number down to around 10 to overwinter. But in the meantime, we've got different colors. By the way, my wife picked those colors out. Different colors to help the bees find their home when they leave and get back. We've got good landmarks. We've got the privet hedge, golden privet over there, and the fence, and the huge pine tree, and an old crepe myrtle. That all helps the bees to get home, to the right home. The configuration is in a semicircle. I did some research way back, and instead of being in a straight line, it's in a semicircle. That's supposed to help with drifting. And again, part of our IPM, Integrated Pest Management, is we want to try to eliminate drifting and also robbing. After we take honey next week, we'll be putting robbing screens up. That's traditional, standard procedure. But anyway, so we've got different colors. Now, if you notice over here on 15, if you take a close-up on 15, the entrances I make those and they're reduced. And we should see some pollen coming in. I've seen two different colors of pollen. There you go, there's that light gray. And that may be coming from the crepe myrtle. And then there's a yellow, there you go, that's probably coming from magnolia, which is the two sources for our flow right now, magnolia and crepe myrtle. And they'll probably decrease significantly in the next couple of weeks, and then we'll go into a dearth. So that's why we want to be concerned about drifting and robbing. So these small entrances, according to Dr. Seeley and nature-based beekeeping, Darwinian beekeeping, smaller entrances are preferred and are easier to defend, or we could say better defended. Also, we've got screen bottoms. And screen bottoms, when the bees groom the mites off, you're going to lose 10 or 15% of those mites. So every little bit helps. So basically that's the layout. I would love to have a lot more space. I think in the future, these two long Langstroths I built myself using Fred Dunn's plans from his website. Got 4 colonies, 2 in each one, doing quite well. This is an experiment, and probably I might end up building more of these and then having less of our Langstroth. And I should mention these are all 8 frame, by the way, that's important. 8 frames are lighter and they're less expensive. Some of the colonies have all mediums like this one, but number 15 has a deep and 2 mediums. So some will go with all mediums and some with a traditional deep and 2. So we're sort of experimental and eclectic about what we're doing to see what works and what doesn't. So anyway, that's where we are. The neighbors have enjoyed the bees and the free honey. I've had bees here for 10 years. And at this point, like I said, the future, we may end up going with more Langstroths, long hives, because they're easier to manipulate instead of having to lift. I can smell honey, so we're going to have to lift some of these heavy supers come probably Monday with a friend of mine. We'll start harvesting honey. Anyway, let's go back and look at 15. And I'll tell you, 15 has a story. All of these colonies have a special story, which is kind of neat. that's the way I approach it. Every one of these, even they've got a number, they also have a very special story. And let me tell you, 15 story. My oldest son and I got a good 15 miles away, and we recovered this swarm down near Northeast Creek one Saturday afternoon. We had a great time doing it. And it turns out that I bet you there was a good 20,000 bees in that swarm. And we brought them back and got them in a hive, and we've been taking care of them. And so here we go. Yeah, look, got quite a few bees. Put this right here. They're looking good. Now, because this is a swarm, a couple of things. First of all, we don't know exactly how old the queen is. She's definitely a year old, because the young queens generally don't swarm unless they're virgins, and they swarm a little bit later. More than likely, she's 2 years old, because if she was 3 years old, the bees would have superseded her, which is what they did in number 2. We were going to record number 2's inspection, and I went in, and lo and behold, they were in the process of superseding, and there was no eggs. And so I can see some honey, which is unusual. We generally don't expect to see honey with a swarm, but if you get a big enough swarm early enough, by golly, they're going to make honey. And look at this, we've got honey, nectar in the middle, honey on the ends, and they're busy capping it. So that looks really, really good on this. Oh, look at this. This is almost capped. However, I don't think we'll take any honey from this colony next week. But we'll double check, because they're doing a great job of bringing in nectar and capping the honey. I'm going to come right here. This is my stand. There we go. Okay, so far so good. Like I said, honey, go back over to number 1. And whoa, is that heavy? This is whoa, another, lots of honey. Wow. Put that right back. Now on the other hand, let's see what we got with this one, number 3. I count backwards. So, alrighty. We've got, that's not a queen cell, that's just some wonky comb. We've got a little bit of brood, older brood to the left. A few perforated and chewed, uncapped, which I think, because these are wild bees, shows hygienic behavior. And here's a drone. There aren't too many at this point. At this point, drones are useless to a swarm colony. There's drones. We had lots of drones in the beginning, which was, several months ago. But now that's one drone. Of course, lots of healthy looking workers. I don't see any disease. I don't see any deformed wing. I don't see any black bees shaking and shivering. The acute paralysis virus. Nope. I don't see any European foul brood. Look right here. We've got a bee coming out right there. That's pretty good. Eclosing is the word. And again, a few perforated caps. And then over here we got some pupa waiting to be covered, to be capped. And in the middle, no larvae, no eggs. The queen hasn't been up here. In fact, probably they will backfill that middle with nectar. So basically what we're seeing, I'm going to look at one more, is a little bit of hygienic behavior. Oh, okay, look at this. Whoa, jackpot. Whoops, sorry, slipped. Great. We're gonna zero in on this one. Got my homemade stand here. Alrighty. Tilt it into the sun. Because this is a winter chicken dinner. Right here, we've got all kinds of larvae. Madam Queen has been up here doing her thing. And if we go out far enough, I'll bring this over so we can get the camera on it. But see all the larvae? Focus right in there for me. Tons and tons of larvae in different ages, which is fantastic. And then we do the step down. A lot of times we'll see eggs at the edge of the step down. Okay, and here we go. Let's go over here and see. I'm going to do a closer look because I think we may have some eggs here. Okay, let's pull that back for a second. And I'm going to bring it up and look at it with my bifocals. Okay. See if I can see eggs at the very end, because this is where we're going to see them. Okay. The negative part is these light-colored foundation. It's hard to see the eggs, and the eggs are well, and just a few caps, decaps, as it were. Holy cow! And on this side, tons of larvae, all ages. Let's see what happens if I can get that over here like that. Yep. All right. Let's see. Wow. Look at that, would you? Look at that. Look at that. Tons of larvae. You can get a close up right there. Oh, just hold it there for a little bit and I'll move the light around. Lots of larvae, different ages. Seeing worker bees, not seeing any more drones, we just have one drone. Okay, let's try right over here. It's going to be hard to see eggs against this background. So let me put this back and then I'm going to show you. Alrighty. This is fantastic. I'm going to look at one more frame. But before we do, everybody talks about eggs being the size of a grain of rice. Well, wouldn't you know, I just happened to bring some as a demonstration. Here we go. All right, you got the camera. That's it. That's what we'll see. Probably better when I get to a dark frame, and that'll be it. Unless we find the queen. We haven't seen the queen yet. But that's what eggs look like. Eggs are the first stage in development. The first day, the egg is standing straight up. The second day, it's starting to lean. The third day, it falls down. The fourth day, it hatches into a little bitty worm called a larvae, or a larva, singularly. So, I like to tell my new beekeepers that that is a little bitty worm. And then it stays in that state for several days until day 8, 9, where it starts to pupate. Look at this. This is another one. Outstanding. We've got the same thing, same pattern. We've got the older brood in the middle, and then we've got the larvae going out on both sides. You can get, yep. And then we have the honey dome at the top, which is very traditional or typical. And then a lot of times there'll be some bee bread and pollen before we get to the brood. I would say this queen is doing a bang up job. And at this point, I don't think she's going to be superseded. I don't see any queen cells or cups. And personally, we'll look just see some eggs. I'd like to try and experiment. If we don't see the queen, I'm very, very encouraged with the all the larvae I'm seeing, and day-old larvae at that point. I guess we'll look at one more. Holy cow. She's just doing a great job. She's doing a fantastic job. And this pattern just looks great. It really, really does. And up top there, I see bee bread. And then, of course, the honey dome. We call that the honey dome. And this side over here. Now, this is a good thing to look at. We got some hygienic behavior going on. We've got a pupa that's being pulled out, and they'll more than likely eat it. And we've got, it looks to me like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We've got some ball brood over here. And this is definitely a hygienic behavior, which wild bees, according to Dr. Seeley, wild bees are, you can count on them to be healthy, because you have to have healthy bees to swarm. Not an absconsion, not sick bees when they leave, but these are healthy bees that we trap or actually recover. And that, by golly, they've been doing what they've been building up, that's what I'm trying to say, in a super duper way. And I love to see honey, and that's generally I don't expect it. But here's the bad news. That sucker's going to weigh. It's going to be very heavy, which is another reason why I'm considering going to the horizontal. But I will also show something here, that when I do these upper supers for honey, even though I've got 8 frame hive, I only put 7 in so they can, as you can see, they'll build it out. And again, no queen excluder. I've tried both. I've experimented twice, alternating years with an excluder and not, and there's no difference in the honey. And I don't mind, because if I'm doing a quick inspection, I've got all these bees to inspect. I can come in and say with, confidence, whoa, that we've got, we've got a queen. Alrighty, let's go right quick. How are we doing on time?
18:30.
Okay, good. Perfect, thank you. All right. Now, I do see a little bit of honey in here. What we did with this swarm is, after we got them in the hive, they're brand new hives, and after about a week or so when they settled in, part of our varroa treatment, we added the new Viroxin strips. Alrighty, this is all nectar with just a little bit of brood, again perforated. And over here, lots and lots of nectar. Okay, yep, no brood whatsoever. Let me put that over here. Yep. Yep. Yeah, so in terms of food, I'm seeing lots of, getting a little feisty. The advantage to working bees this early is it's a lot cooler. The disadvantage is you've got a whole lot of foragers to deal with. But Randy Oliver's inspection is great. He'd look along the edge, and if you got bees looking at you, those are guard bees, and put a little smoke on them, and they go down and everything's copacetic. Okay, let's see what we got here. First frame is all honey, which is great. Second frame, ooh, lovely, is brood and no honey, no eggs. It's an old brood. Now there's a couple of queen cups and they're empty. Very good. And over here, some old brood and chewed down. Now there's enough chewed down brood that this, and they're scheduled to be treated for mites anyway next week. We treat every year after we take honey. And so because it's so hot, I would love to use Formic Pro, but it's just too darn hot. So what we'll end up doing is we'll use oxalic acid and we'll do the vapor, because the dribble will evaporate. It's not very effective in our humidities. But we'll do the, oh, now there's a great brood pattern from our queen. And in the middle is not, no larvae in the middle. There's bee bread over here, which is good, and pollen. And we've got some, you could call them pre-pupa to the right corner. Those will be capped. They look different than the bald brood. Okay, on this side, again, a fantastic pattern. So this queen is 2 years old. There's some trophallaxis going on down here in the left corner. Because a 3-year-old queen generally does not produce a pattern like this. Got some wonky comb. There's no queen cups there. So no, she's just doing a fantastic job. We're going to check a few more frames just to make sure that they're getting a little anxious here. And that's, again, it's not a good time to do this, but because of the heat, this is our best bet. But if we continue, whoa, look at that. Continue to see patterns like that. Okay, not a problem. Not a problem whatsoever. Another great pattern. So we don't need to worry about that. Because what I want to do is, now some of this over here is, it looks like it's been chewed down. But it also could be pre-pupa waiting to be capped, because over here is brood, larvae, teeny tiny larvae. And so, and here's this side here. Ah, now we've got a queen cup, but it's empty. I can see inside. Not really going to worry about that. But this hygienic behavior, that's an indicator that we do have mites. And we'll be doing a monitor, we'll test first, and then we'll come back and treat next week. That's the schedule as we work the rest of our bees. We only have to treat 10% of our bees, or monitor rather, test 10%. And then based on that, but I can tell you right off, this one's going to get the full treatment. And because I'm seeing that hygienic behavior. Yep. It's not PMS, so I'm not worried about that. Just here and there you'll see the need for a treatment. They are getting real saucy, which is time to shut them up almost. We're going to look real quick. At the deep, and then we'll shut them up. So I think at this point, they're calming down. I've seen enough to say that it's queen right. It's at an angle. And we'll see what we can see down here. Right quick. Okay, this is lovely. Look at this. They're still building comb. Comb is very expensive. It takes a lot of nectar, a lot of honey to build comb, and sometimes you'll see eggs in that comb, but not today. Over on this side, we've got comb to the left, and lots of bee bread and nectar and pollen. Lots of food for these guys, for these ladies. And look at this. They're just saying, hey, those nasonoph glands are working full time. They're telling me that the queen is over here somewhere. The queen is here. Let's move these, or move them a little bit. Don't want to smush any of them. Come on, ladies. That's it. Oop. Let me put this over here. Out of the way. Okay, so far we've identified 3, well, can we say 2.5 casts? Haven't seen the queen. Got the one drone, which was interesting. And I don't really need to see the queen, but I do want to see, whoa, look at all the food. Bee bread, pollen, outstanding. So these guys are doing a great job of foraging. And again, predominant workers, healthy, no deformed wing virus, no anomalies, crazy behavior. They're just doing terrific. And, oh, look over here. Take that down. Look at all of the, there's your brood again. And that's good. That's a good pattern. To your left, you've got bee bread. And they've got larvae. And larvae. And larvae all the way around. And lo and behold, a little bitty larvae. And at the bottom, let me see right quick. This very bottom. Larvae. Larvae, ladies. Thank you. Larvae. There should be some eggs right in here. I'm not seeing any. Lots of larvae though. These step down patterns are great if you follow the trail, as it were. Nope. I'll do one more before they get upset completely. A little more smoke. There we go. How am I doing on time?
29.
Okay. That's perfect. There's it. All right, this is interesting. We've got queen cell. That's empty. And that's a wonky, that's not really a queen cell right there. Just a piece of comb. Okay, we've got not seeing a lot of we're gonna see eggs, it would be right there. Queen cells over here, cups, we'll see. I'll look and make sure they're not full. Again, they have plenty of room. They don't need to swarm. And let's see, bee bread, pollen. And that's a half decent pattern. There's some gaps to it. And let's see, looking in this, get the sun on it. They're empty. Very good. Some of the Varoxen. All right, I'll tell you what. I'm feeling really good about these bees. Lots of bees, lots of brood. They're kind of calming down. Let's look at one more. A little bit more. I brought a magnifying glass to see if we could get it. Find an egg. Magnify. Oh, there's some pollen. Bee bringing in pollen. Oh, there's one of my strips that I forgot to take out last week. Okay. Alrighty. Let's see what we got here. Slippery. Got some older brood. Got some bees declosing. And that's bee bread. Okay. Alright. Well, we're going to put this back. Well, like I say, there's lots of bees. These guys have done quite well. For sure. Alrighty. That queen has been all over the place. Yep. Okay, we're going to put her back together. Yep. Oh, this one's heavy too. Gonna slide it in. There you go. Slide it this way. A lot of bees. Lots of bees. I'd say we're up to 50,000. Incredible. All right. Well. Oh, this one is one reason I need to go to the long hive. We probably will wait and get fall honey from these guys. But we'll see what happens next week. We may be able to pull some of the top frames. But we've got brood in all 3 boxes. And I'm from the larvae that I've seen, the day-old larvae. And sure there were eggs right there in that the step-down pattern. They just don't show up here because you've got that lighter color. Anyway, so this colony I am quite pleased with. I'm going to give them a B+, maybe an A-. Small hive beetles, none whatsoever. We will put, didn't bring the new one, the new beetle blaster trap. We'll probably put those on after we take the honey. And then, really, the main thing, and then they're on the schedule for mites. What else is there to talk about? That's been it was a good deal. Free healthy bees that we caught. And we'll continue with our pest management program. And really the most important thing right now, as my hat has fallen off, to take care of the mite situation, and which we've got scheduled. And overall, though, the health looks fantastic, and more than likely, this colony will be one of our overwinter colonies, and developmental, and definitely we'll try to get some honey this fall if we have a good fall flow. But I think we'll leave the honey in here right now. Got a little homemade stand that I made. So that kind of wraps it up. I think it's important to inspect your hives every 10 to 14 days, which is what we're doing with this one. And of course the others, they all get inspections next week after we pull honey. That's part of our process. And then at which time you test for your mites. And when you're running 50 hives like we do, you only test for 10%. And then, but based on those results, random hives, colonies, based on those results, we end up probably treating all of them. So anyway, so that's what we've got going. And then towards the end of the summer, we'll do our foul brood inspections, where you go and we look at all the brood frames and look for signs of European and American foul brood, particularly American foul brood. We do rotating. We will rotate old frames out at that time too. At this point, I did not see any brood disease, and so no sign of foul brood or anything else. So anyway, so how are we doing? What's the time?
37.
Okay, perfect. All right. Well, we're going to wrap it up, and again, I wish we could have done this later when weren't many foragers, but on the other hand, it's been so hot that we decided to go at 7:30 instead of 11. All right, thank you very much.